I've given this presentation at a couple other venues, but it's been refined. So if you've sat through other versions of it, don't worry, I think you're going to encounter some new stuff. But what we're really going to talk about today is a couple things. One, we're going to talk about technology, specifically social media and the convergence of mobile communications. Then we're going to look at the emergence of a new marketing factor called the zero moment of truth, and how you as independent brokers, business managers, and ultimately advertisers can get your message out there by tapping into this. And then tools and strategies. I know a lot of people come in and say, this tool will solve every problem you ever had. And you know what? All of you who know me, first of all, I like to find free tools. Secondly, I believe that you've got to have the right tool for the right job. And it's very easy to get overwhelmed with any number of tools. So before you try to go out and use every one of these, I would encourage you to look for one that's going to solve a particular business need that you have, and then make a goal for yourself to explore how that can work for you. And then finally, we're going to look at some really exciting emerging technologies just to give you a sense of where the real estate industry is going, and ultimately maybe get your brains thinking on how y'all can tap into that as well. So first, to get started, let's talk a little bit about social media. Now, I went and I Googled the definition of social media, and I came up with an umbrella term that defines various activities that integrate technology, social interaction, and the construction of communication in various media forms, including words, pictures, and video. Somebody actually sat down and thought that out, wrote it out. When I don't really know where the umbrellas come in, other than maybe telling people that it's raining. But at the end of the day, we're not really interested in what social media encompasses or even wild tales of success. All we want to know is why social media makes sense, and is it something that I need to incorporate within my business today. So fact number one, social media is the #1 online activity. When people go to the internet, they're in two major categories. They're either consuming or creating information. There's nothing really else to do on the internet. But within the consumption and even within the creation of information, a lot of that occurs within social media. 96% of all Gen Y folks, for example, belong to one or more social networks. So you as marketers, when you're thinking about how to promote your business, the best way to get the message out about your business is to be where people are at. That's all there is to delivering a successful message. Fact number two, consumers simply don't trust ads. Think about your own experience. If something's trying to tell you that it's the best thing in the world or it's going to solve all your problems, automatically you come from a position of reluctance. You're trying to, you want to believe, but at the same time, there's a little bit of distrust. Oh, it's somebody else just trying to sell me something. In fact, when consumers are polled, 80% of them overwhelmingly said that they would rather get a nod or a nudge or a recommendation from a complete stranger than they would to take that same level of trust with an ad. And think about maybe your own experiences. I, for one, whenever I need to shop for my own wife's gifts, and by the way, I'm being recorded right now, so I hope she doesn't see this, I just go on Amazon and look for what's popular in the female category for her age, and then look for the referrals and reviews and go, boom, I've got a good gift here. So. Yeah, don't tell my wife the secret, but she's always surprised how I'm so insightful. So, fact number three, we're falling in love online. We're creating relationships which are just as real and just as powerful as if you were to meet somebody at a business function, at a meeting, or at an event. And can you create those same relationships with your clients? And one of the things I want to discuss with you is, yes, indeed you can. By becoming a trusted resource, by becoming somebody that someone can ask questions to and will respond to them, you can create a very powerful relationship where you may not even ever physically interact with that person. And fact number four, they are looking for you. If you have clients who are participating in these networks, chances are, if you've had a special or an event or a new loan or something that came out recently, and you talk to somebody in frustration, oh, why didn't you get this news? They might have said, well, did you put it on Facebook? I looked to your page. Or, consumers don't necessarily know how to find you by using Google because there's just so many, placeholders there. I heard a quote recently that the next best thing to death is second page on Google. Well, on Facebook, because your information is going out to people who are not only directly connected to you, but the folks that they are connected to, it creates an overwhelming opportunity for people to get your message. So if they are already participating in these networks and you aren't, then you're missing a valuable opportunity to connect. And then mobile is an accelerator. We look at the growth of mobile. I mean, let's all just kind of think back. And I'm not talking let's go back 30 years. I'm not even talking about let's go back 20 years or even 10. Just think 5 years ago. What did you use your phone for? Chances are you used your phone to call people. Maybe you're the weird duck who like sent some text messages and even used a calculator on your phone, but doubtless the phone did not function as such a central piece in your life as it does today. We use it for checking email. We use it for responding and communicating. I myself, I would rather lose my wallet than I would my phone because I can easily, from my phone, deactivate all my credit cards, transfer money. It has the keys to my life, as it were. And if I could ever figure out how to make my phone open up my front door, it would just make life a whole lot easier. And I'm sure I can, but my wife would freak out about it. Now, we know that mobile is an accelerator. We know that social media is very popular, but what about social media on the go? And it's growing. 82 million consumers, or 26% of the population, will access social networks from their phone this year. And that's going to only grow to 117 million conservatively by 2014. So if you're trying to figure out a good way to get your message out there to not only a targeted group that is directly connected to folks that you already have a relationship with and are in a willing attitude to receive that information, I can't really think of where you can go wrong with social media. Secondly, tying that together with the fact that consumption of your product, which is homes, is largely done on the go. I mean, let's face it, you can see a picture of a home, but you can't experience a home until you're in front of it. So the two things kind of go naturally together. They're going to be in front of your house. Maybe they want to ask somebody about the neighborhood. Well, can you intercept that request for information, which we're going to talk about in the 0 moment of truth, and provide your own information so that they can find what they need and tie it back to you? And then finally, if you're one of the folks out in there who are thinking, oh my God, this is another presentation on social media, please, Lord, let me survive through this, but I'm going to be nice and smile. My goal isn't to sell you on this, but if you're also thinking it's going to go away, you know, the dinosaurs probably looked up at the sky and said, wow, that's a tiny rock. And the mammals, who are much smaller and probably a little more agile than the dinosaurs, you know, just said, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. So I hope that you agree with me that social media is here to stay. Could this be a fad? I don't think so. I mean, is the printing press a fad? Is, you know, mobile computing a fad? Is computers in general a fad? At some point in time, we reach these epochs where there really isn't a turn back. I mean, could you imagine if we were just take all of our desktop computers and dump them in the trash? Yeah, it's probably a cool TV show, but it would screw up a lot of things. I mean, a lot of that we deal with in life is built around these devices. And social media is starting to take more and more of that, and particularly with the new generations coming up who are relying on this for communication, for networking, for information gathering. I think all those points to that it's probably not going to go away. So that said, I think it's time that we rethink how we market and engage with consumer. Consumer engagement is not just about, you know, being there when they want to buy something. Consumer engagement is about that customer service. And for that reason, one of my favorite platforms is social media. You can not only provide real-time customer service to your customers when they need it, but you can also be public about it. So you can pre-answer questions that maybe other folks have. Or you can let people see what a great service you can provide. It's also loyalty building. Gone are the days of just simply being there as an information source and not providing any real fun or interactivity. So if all you're doing is throwing up stats, but not really painting a picture of the market, why is somebody going to necessarily follow you where they could go and have some fun with someone else? And that's all leading into what's word-of-mouth marketing. Word-of-mouth marketing is through the interaction, conversation, discovery, exploration, and recommendation. You can key into these really powerful tools to guide people to doing business with you. So what is a moment of truth? I mentioned that a little bit earlier, and that's the old axiom of how to sell a product. When you want to sell a product to somebody, there are 3 stages of product engagement. First is stimulus, letting people know that they need a product. They need a home. Now's the time to buy. It's a great market. You can't live without this product. These are all very key, powerful terms. Second is shelf, placing your product in front of the person when they're most likely to make a purchase. And then finally, the experience. Sharing with them such a great experience where they feel nothing but the desire to go and share with other people how great they had it. Now, those are all wonderful words to say, but what does it actually look like? How many people here remember this ad? Yeah, it's iconic, right? I remember I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I didn't even know what a record player was, much less speakers. And I saw this ad, and I just had to have one. And you know, the Maxwell ad has been so widely recognized. It's been used in so many different offshoot campaigns. I think Apple did a version of it. Websites have done it. It's all about that speed. It's about this crummy guy's life, yet with his rockin' set of speakers, his life is fulfilled. He's just happy. So that's stimulus. Stimulus is reminding us that there's more to life than the stuff that we have in our apartment, except of course our speakers. And then we guide into the first moment of truth. The first moment of truth is deciding to make that purchase. Yes, my life could be so much better if I bought this beautiful Ducati. I could go to work so much faster. I could, move with speed. People would find me attractive and awesome. And before you get that mental image of a giant 350-pound person driving on a Ducati, it's just not going to happen. I need 4 wheels, okay? So deciding is the presentation. But what is experience? Experience is feeling that rush of speed, that something that you can't share with anybody, but to say that this is incredible. There's a reason why the Ducati is among the most popular sports bikes in the world. Not only the attention to detail and craftsmanship, but also because they provide that intangible quantity, that speed, that connection with that primal desire for fun. And let's go ahead and experience that ourselves. Just blowing by at like 80, 90, 100, 114, capping out like 140 miles per hour. Oh. I could get to work in like 5 seconds. That'd be just awesome, straight away. And you know what? This isn't an ad. This is somebody just going out, have bought a Ducati and wanted to share with the world his beautiful first experience with this bike. But you know what? Somebody sitting out in that audience goes, yeah, I could do that. That could be me driving at 0 to 154 miles per hour. So this is all leading us to the next question. We know what stimulus is. We know what the market of putting the product placement is. We can even conceptualize the experience. But is there an insertion? I mean, is there a preemptive step? And yes, it's called the 0 moment of truth. Now, when you see this, don't be underwhelmed, because I think you're all going to go, wow, that's kind of common sense. But by understanding what the 0 moment of truth is, the searching, the researching, and the deciding on something, you're going to key into how you could use this within your business. But hey, don't take my word for it. The smart guys over at Google actually worked with some folks called Shopper Sciences, and let's share what they found.
Have been using a 3-step mental model of marketing for a long time. Stimulus, like developing a TV ad. Shelf, focusing on point of sale, which has historically been called the first moment of truth. And experience. People take the product home and experience it. They could have a good experience or a bad experience, and they share it. This is the second moment of truth. If marketers spend time on these 3 steps, they should succeed, right? We investigated this theory. We conducted a comprehensive study with research partner Shopper Sciences using 5,000 shoppers across 12 categories, from groceries to cars and financial products. The goal, show where influence takes place as shoppers move from undecided to decided. We found that the average shopper used 10.4 sources of information, up from 5.3 sources in 2010. We asked shoppers what sources they used to make decisions, when they used it, and how influential is each source. When we lined up their responses, a 4th step appeared in the marketing mental model, the 0 moment of truth. This is when consumers do their research, get smart about alternatives, read reviews, look for coupons and comparison shop, all before going to the shelf. When we compare the steps, the 0 moment of truth pops up as highly relevant and influential. Consumers have changed the way they have approached decision making. As a marketer, have you kept up? Or are you still using the old mental model? There's a new mental model now, and marketers that can now keep all these steps spinning gain a very competitive advantage in today's marketplace.
So if you ever have just a weekend, there's a great book that Google put together called The Zero Moment of Truth, and you just go there. It's an ebook that you can download and read. But I'll give you the cliff notes. The cliff notes are this. When people are deciding on purchasing a product, they have a lot of different options. We're not in a single unit market anymore. There's a lot of different options, and also the consumer has rich access to a lot more information sources than at any time previously in human understanding or experience. So they're going out and researching. Let me anecdotalize that. My wife and I spent the last 6 months trying to select a umbrella stroller for my daughter, and you know it's a relatively simple decision. I mean, it's a stroller. Honestly, as a guy, I'm like, just go buy a damn stroller and throw it in the car. But we wanted to find the best product that not only fit our needs, our lifestyle, was also offered at the best price. So we went around to multiple different stores. You know, we're comparing on Amazon as we're shopping in the store. We're looking on the store website to see what reviews were there. We're checking out Facebook and other social media portals to understand what other people's experiences were. And after 6 months, we selected our stroller. Well, that's a stroller. When consumers are going out looking for a home, are they also exploring these same kind of mental steps? Are they looking for alternative deals? What the going rate is in the marketplace? What the marketplace can bear? What people's satisfaction with the schools, the infrastructure, what areas, amenities are around them? And the question you should be asking yourself right now is, again, since most of these people are doing this mobily, do you have the mobile resources in place to answer those questions? Now, we're not going to talk specifically about those kind of objectives. If you are interested in those kind of steps, we offer a monthly course. In fact, I think the one we're doing next is coming up the 27th, called Let's Talk Tech. It's where I get and talk with y'all about specific bite-sized chunks of technology opportunities. And I think we're talking about online education and gathering requirements online this time around. But the point is when you're looking at your website and you're looking at your own communication strategies, if you're not putting this information out there, somebody's going to get it from someone else. And I think a lot of the frustration that comes from when I talk to practitioners and they're frustrated with maybe a Zillow or a Truly or a third-party player that's in the market, it's really just a reflection of they've done a really good job of being available mobily and have participated in these social media portals. Now, granted, you're not going to be able to compete with, you know, 100-person business unless you're, you know, 100 people. But just like guerrilla strategies from caveman times on have taught us, smaller and more mobile teams can actually choose the place of battle a lot more effectively. So if you're focusing in Livermore and in a particular area of Livermore, just make sure that your site, that your resources are really, really tuned to that specific information and put the opportunity to engage directly in front of the home. Make it mobilely accessible and make it available. Follow up. And we're going to talk about some tools that can allow you to enrich these engagements and also achieve some of these goals. First question I hope that you're asking yourself right now is, what is the consumer experience of my brand? And while we talked about consumer experience, I think at first you really need to understand your audience. And this is one of the areas where social media can be extremely powerful. It's not just about understanding what it is that they want. It's understanding, more importantly, what they need and what they love. So once you understand what drives somebody, you can offer them that information in a much more attractive way. For example, you might find that folks who are following you in a particular social media channel are all Raiders fans. Well, if you're offering a 49ers calendar to be hung up on their refrigerator, probably not going to get very many takers. But if you were to offer a Raiders calendar or offer, you know, maybe a pair of cheap season tickets for somebody to go to a particular open home or, you know, something like that, you might have some more engagement. And the first tool we're going to take a look at is called ThinkUp. And what ThinkUp does is it's actually a service that you manage. You download, you install it on your own server, on your own PC, you tell it what you want to monitor, and it pulls in all that information so that you can take a little more business intelligence look at things that are going on.
ThinkUp is a free open source web application that captures all your activity on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. ThinkUp grabs everything. Your posts, replies, retweets, friends, followers, links, and puts it all in a database that you control and that nobody can take away. And once it's in there, ThinkUp gives you new ways to explore and analyze your social network activity. Search your entire Twitter history. Visualize all the data in new ways. Export it for deeper analysis or record keeping. Or even publish and embed the conversations on your own site. And that's just scratching the surface. With ThinkUp's API, developers can now build new tools and mashups on top of the data that ThinkUp collects. And our community of developers keeps expanding, making sure the app keeps getting better and better with every new release. Download it today or learn more at thinkupapp.com.
So just a couple ways I could see you using this. For example, if you wanted to measure the impact of a letter campaign, let's say you sent out postcards to your neighborhood and said, hey, for real-time information, or I've set up a neighborhood community, join me on here, you could actually look at the location responses and say, oh yeah, I'm reaching the market. Or you might find that most of your followers on Facebook, for example, are located in a particular neighborhood in Castro Valley, which you don't honestly put a whole lot of effort into marketing for, so you get a little more deeper insight onto where your marketing is actually realizing real results. Next up is creating a feedback loop. It's always important to follow your brands, your customers, your industry, and even your competitors to be in an opportunity, or to be in a position to take advantage of an opportunity. I'll relate to y'all a personal example. Within the MLS industry, it is really difficult to find a high-quality mobile MLS application that's designed for realtors. Well, the MLS providers, they're looking at the difficulty of defining and building a mobile app and saying, well, that's way too costly, it cuts directly to our profits, we have to pass this burden of cost on directly to you. The third-party players find it difficult to enter into the market, and outsiders don't really have a good understanding of the market. Well, one company that I know personally, Goomsy, they provide a product that y'all use. It's the text-based alerts as a member benefit. They saw this opportunity and took it onto themselves as a small player to address these needs. And they broke it out by understanding what the conversation was. Concerns with speed, with data integrity, with the fact that consumers were out there being a little more informed than the business professionals, and they took all this information and knowledge and developed an app that fit all those requirements. So how can you be that kind of mobile, that kind of psychic, that kind of forecaster? Well, Social Mention is a great tool for doing that. Social Mention is a free online tool which basically think of it like Google Alerts for social media. Let's say you wanted to monitor mentions about Fannie Mae. Not only can you see where the trend is going, are the mentions going up or going down, you can also see the strength and passion of those mentions. Are people participating in these conversations? So if you want to be timely about what you're talking about, you would have an opportunity to say, okay, a lot of people are talking about this particular topic, I'm going to key in on this. And again, these are like Google Alerts, so you get notifications. And it's not just you, it's internet-wide. And you can also be location-specific. There's positive, neutral. There's a lot of key indicators, so information, and it's free. Follow up every chance you get. I think it's absolutely a requirement of doing business nowadays that you follow up on a timely basis with your consumers. That said, we're all really, really busy people. I mean, we've got all the demands from personal life, professional life. We've got tools. We've got services that need to be followed up on. How do you keep track of it? Now, there's a lot of great tracking and time management solutions out there, but I'm just going to share one with you, and that's called Remember the Milk. The thing I like about Remember the Milk is it's schedule and forget, and also you can participate with teams. So it's originally designed as the honey-do list, and for those of guys and ladies who know what I'm talking about, that's you're going home, pick up the milk. That's why it's called Remember the Milk, because I presume the guy got in trouble for forgetting the milk. But it allows folks to, within a team or an office or a unit, to share tasks with one another so they get things done. And you can also set daily tasks for yourself, such as check on and respond to my social media, or a weekly task, which is to run a report on my marketing, or to reevaluate this particular campaign or whatnot. Ultimately, like I said, there's any number of a dozen of them out there. This one's free and it works great. So at this point, we've talked about how to kind of get a broader understanding about the marketplace, understand your effectiveness within it, and then next, we've talked about how to more effectively manage your time. How do we go about actually taking action on realizing the fruits of our labor? Well, at this stage, it's all about the analysis. So we've set up our funnel: awareness, consideration, conversion, loyalty, and advocacy. So we're engaging consumers, but what point are we actually engaging with them in the channel? And Hubspot is a great tool for understanding that. It takes a look at your social media, your website, your engagement, where you're a thought leader, and it puts them all together into a score that most of us can comprehend. For example, I can look and say, out of 100, we're 77. It's not perfect, but we're not Microsoft and Bing. We're also doing a lot better than larger competitors of ours. For example, HAR.com, one of the largest MLSs in the country, has a score of 41%, and we have a score of 63%. Our overall impact score is 77, where they're at 33. So we're able to manage our own expectations of where our marketing campaigns are working as well. Now, we've talked about analyzing, we've also talked about the time management, but it doesn't matter if you're not consistent. So voice and reach are very important. Once you've established that voice, you want to make sure that your responses or your product is going out on a regular basis to consumers. You can spend a lot of money on managing this, or you can use a tool like MailChimp. One of the things I really like about MailChimp is it's free for up to 12,000 emails a month. It gives great templates, and then it's mobile friendly. So consider all the times that you've taken your own mobile device out and looked at the emails in your inbox and it said to unsubscribe, and the very first thing that they're seeing in the summary is to unsubscribe. That seems kind of like anti-productive to me. You should be capturing all the value of what somebody is going to be getting in this email. In this email, you're going to learn blah, blah, blah. And that's what MailChimp's system does. They allow you to summarize the content so that regardless of device, the consumer is being sold on it in that preview instead of being sold on the fact that they can easily unsubscribe and leave you behind. Now, they do make it easy for people to unsubscribe, but they just make it a little bit more intelligently presented. And then if you also have a system that you're working on in your office where you're sending out emails and you've been kind of frustrated with the lack of your open rates on your emails, they have a transaction email product called Mandrill, which makes it very easy to plug it into almost any system, and it does all the batching, it does all the best practices so that you don't have to worry about, and that's free as well, up to, I believe, 12,000 emails. So at this point, we should be thinking about delivering an experience. And I chose this particular motif for a very good reason. I went with some friends of mine on a recent trip to wine country, and one of my friends is an auditor for many of the major wineries in the area. Another one of my friends, he buys wine like, some people buy shoes. I mean, he just has like an entire room set up for wine. So he got some pretty VIP treatment, and in most cases we got to talk with either the wine master or the owner of the vineyard. And even though I was a little lit at the time, I asked the same question consistently. What do you think about the screw cap versus the cork? And I got varying answers on this. Some people, overwhelmingly, I think most of them hated the screw cap just because it was change. Well, one particular one sat me down and said, you know what, I love the cap. It's a great opportunity to keep my product consistent on the shelf. I know that when a consumer picks it up, it's going to taste the same that day as when I put it in the bottle. The wine cork, it's flawed in the fact that it allows air to go in. So it's constantly changing the wine, which is good if you want to let your wines breathe and age over time. But once you've captured that essence and that perfect sip, you want to have it in the bottle. But you know what? He said, nobody's going to want to pay $150 to $500 for a bottle of wine that you screw the cap off of. So we stick with the experience. So maybe there's an opportunity within your own business where cost cutting or changing might make sense, but think about the experience. And at this point, I want to just give you one idea, and that's the open house. We've all seen the open house ledger laying out on the desk, but what if you were to take your tablet, your Surface tablet, your iPad mini, your Android tablet, and use an open house application to capture that. And not only ask for people's sign-up information, but ask them what kind of house they're looking for. Are they just interested just to see what the house looks like? Okay, well, you know not to follow up with them. But if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this particular area with these particular amenities, and it goes through the questions really quickly and responds to it, great, you got a hot prospect to follow up on. And another way of thinking about experience is it's not just the technology. I made my wife an iced coffee the other day, and when I first gave it to her, she was really disappointed with me because there was ice in the iced coffee. And I said, take a closer look at the ice. And she did. It was the frozen coffee. So when the coffee melted, it didn't dilute the coffee itself. So within your own business, if you see an opportunity to answer a question, try to also go beyond. Share this information with your clients. Say, hey, you can use these tools as well. And you'll never know what kind of feedback you're going to get from it. So at this point, we're off on the teaching point, and we're just going to talk about 10 great tools. First up is Dropbox. How many people in here use Dropbox? Yeah, Dropbox rocks. Now, if you're not using Dropbox, I'm going to try to sell you on it. So Dropbox is free. You can use it within Teams, and it's also great for sending out information via emails. Any file within your Dropbox, you can right-click on and choose Copy Link, and you can share that link directly to the file. So no more emails returned because mail size exceeded size limit and inbox, blah, blah, blah. You can also change those files, and the link will stay persistent. So if maybe something needs to be updated, or you could even use this for your own site. Let's say you wanted to share a presentation or a report, but you didn't want to have to go and change that link every month or so. You can just save over that link, and the link stays consistent on your site. One of the other fantastic things about Dropbox is you can use it on the go. It works mobilely, and it works on your desk. Particularly within a team, you can now capture each other's strengths. Let's say Sherry put together a really good foreclosure report, and Bill put together something on how appraisals work. When you're sitting in front of a client, regardless of what their questions are, you have an opportunity to use that shared wealth and knowledge. Next up is Zamzar. I can't even tell you the number of times I get people who ask me, how do I convert a PDF to a document? How do I convert how do I grab an image from a video, or how do I just get the audio from a video? Zamzar is like the ASUS recorder of file conversions. You can basically throw a waffle at it, and it's going to figure out something it can make it into. It does some really cool things. In fact, you can even convert videos to motion GIFs. That said, the GIF that comes out of it is ginormously huge, so think that one through before using it a lot. But if you do need to just quickly convert a PDF, don't have to go install software or go through and get the trial version of Adobe to only have it work once. Here you can use Zamzar, and it's free, up to 100 megs. Next up is Route for Me. Now, a lot of people don't understand necessarily about efficient routing, but you don't need to. With a tool like Route for Me, you can put in your starting address and a list of addresses that you want to go visit, and it's going to tell you the most efficient path to take. So next time you're planning on your broker caravan, or you're thinking about your buyer's tour, or even about how you're going to schedule your day meetings, you could use a tool like Route for Me. One area I would see this being very useful is, let's say you have a client meeting scheduled for Hayward, Fremont, and then way off in Brentwood. Well, you might know off the top of your head that Brentwood's way out there, but you might also not know. But you might not be taking into account some of the abilities of the freeway. It might make more sense for you to start your day out in Brentwood and tail out just for the time. So Route for Me is a free tool. They have some advanced uses of it, but they primarily focus within like the enterprise, embedding their own technology. And it was originally developed by FedEx, so it uses that same kind of technology. Yes, sir?
Did you say you can download these on your iPhone too? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, so every one of these tools has a mobile component. Yeah. Slide Rocket. Now, one of the questions I get asked all the time is, Mark, how do you make such awesome presentations? And while I really appreciate it, and it's true, I do make awesome presentations. I use Keynote, but if you're not willing to go down the Mac road and PowerPoint's just too much of a struggle for you, Slide Rocket makes it super easy to make some super slick and awesome presentations. One of the great things about Slide Rocket is they're online, so you could actually set up a presentation, let's say, a buyer's transaction steps 101 for a buyer, or understanding a CMA, understanding the market, why now is a good time to buy. Include that information within your social media, on your websites. You can send it out to your clients as part of your emails. And if something changes, you can go and update it, and then you don't have to worry about updating all the links. And you can even embed videos, sound, and all that stuff. It's free, but there's some additional features if you go to the Pro version, and the Pro version isn't a whole lot. Next up is sharing. Social media can be a real time suck. I mean, you can get in and just be caught up in the mafia wars and whatever the latest Zynga game is, or also the political process. That's putting it mildly. Buffer is a way for you to just get in, get out. You could go in and say, okay, I want to connect Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and you just say one thing. You can write it once, and it's going to divide up the message as it needs to go and send it out to all those and create the links and everything, and also allow you to track it. You can also use Social Made Simple, which is a free member benefit provided. The advantage to Social Made Simple is it gives you some additional metrics, and it also puts together kind of a training program for you guys. So if you want to take that back to your office and say, hey, let's be more effective at social media, consider coming to one of our classes on Social Made Simple and exploring how you can use it within your team. And again, it's a free benefit for y'all. Next is Habit Forge. New Year's coming up. I'm sure we're all going to make a lot of wonderful resolutions, and probably they'll last about 2 days. Habit Forge is a really cool tool that allows you to make resolutions that stick. And it doesn't need to just be at the new year. You could go in and say, my resolution is to post one blog post a week. And then it will follow up on whatever the time preference that you want consistently to make sure that you've hit that habit. If you hit no or don't reply within a certain amount of time, it resets the clock. And so it just kind of annoys you to the point where you either set it up as spam or you go in and actually complete the habit. Hopefully the latter. Expensify, again with the year coming to a close, thinking about those expenses. We all got our shoe boxes, we've got our tickler files, but Expensify makes it really easy to automatically just take pictures of it, create reports, just really simplifying your life. I haven't quite gotten us to adopt it yet, but it's something that personally I hate filling out expense reports, and this could kind of automate it for me. So if you are worried about those kind of things, it allows you to also track your gas mileage, employee costs, and whatnot. So it's a really effective way to just kind of manage that side of your business. PrimaDesk is a really interesting product. So you have Gmail, let's say you have Facebook, let's say you have your own website and all these other tools. You could either go to each one of those separately, or you can set up PrimaDesk to become kind of a one source page for them all. One of the things I really like about PrimaDesk is it takes a lot of the guesswork out on it. So you click on, say, Facebook, and you just type in your information, and it automatically pulls it in. And just like a Google page or something, it's right there in a box. You can interact directly with folks. You can send emails out. You can check emails. So it makes an all-in-one landing page. One of the things that it doesn't, unfortunately, yet do is kind of the MLS. But if we get enough people using this kind of tool, maybe we could look at a way that you could streamline some monitoring for properties. We could build something like that. Then next up is taskrabbit. How many times do you do tasks that we better off delegated? I mean, it could be everything from putting together a PowerPoint presentation to putting a sign into the ground, or God forbid, taking a picture of a home. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard people get fined for not taking a picture on their home. You could just set up TaskRabbit and say, I'll pay somebody $5 to take a picture on a home. And you know what? If they're really close to the house, they'll take a photo. I would do it. If somebody put that up on Pleasanton, I'd do it on my off time. Yeah, and there's. Yeah, so TaskRabbit will basically allow you to do everything from have your kids picked up to, although that's a little creepy, to making presentations, and you could do grocery shopping, household chores. There was a dead rat to be taken out in our backyard. I did it myself, but I probably could have gotten somebody on TaskRabbit to do it. So clean the pool, whatever it is that maybe you say, oh, my life would be so much better. It's basically a really good temp service for us normal folks. And then finally, if none of y'all do anything else, ditch IE. Please, please, please. IE just is horrible. Friends don't let friends use IE. Okay, so Chrome. I'm going to give you the 10-second pitch on Chrome. 1, it's faster. 2, it's like constantly being updated. They're literally paying people $60,000 a bug if they can find a bug or hack or crack or privacy issue with the system. 3, as you can see, you can access all your information across platforms. So if you have Chrome on your iPhone or your Android or your BlackBerry or whatnot, you can access the same websites that you just recently accessed on your desktop. So let's say you're in front of a client. Oh yeah, I was just looking at a story about that. Oh, I got it. Pull up Chrome, look at recently closed tab on your desktop, and boom, you're just right in there. And I've really gotten used to the fact that Chrome will remember all my passwords. So I don't need to remember them across computers. It also remembers all my links. So if I want to go home and be productive, as I am at the office, I don't have to worry about it. So that's my 10-second appeal for Chrome. Yes?
You know your passwords at work, and then you go home and your passwords are there?
You can choose to connect your Chrome accounts. So when you go into Chrome, it will say sign into Chrome, which will use a Google app account. And if you do that, then it'll allow you to track. But you can selectively decide what to sync. So if you want to not sync passwords from a particular PC, then you can selectively choose to not do that.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There's a login somewhere in there.
Yeah, if you go under the settings wrench and it says log into Chrome, you might also need to update to the latest version. And once you do the update, just select automatic updates. Yes, Mike?
With Internet Explorer, that was the original kind of default for when we logged into Paragon 5 or Paragon 4 back in the old days. If you wanted to convert your search engine to the Google Chrome, how would you go about doing that so when you log into Paragon?
Just open up Chrome and it should prompt you to say make default browser. But if it doesn't, if you go under settings and then options, you can choose make Chrome default. If there is a site that you absolutely have to have IE for, and so that's what's holding you up, there's a great extension for Chrome called IE tab. And you just say, anytime I go to this site, use the IE rendering engine.
What about Safari? That was another search engine that was being used with Paragon.
Well, Safari uses the WebKit browser, or the WebKit engine, which Chrome also uses. I simply prefer Chrome because they're updating it more regularly. And frankly, Safari on Windows is a joke, whereas it doesn't matter if you're on Linux, PC, or Mac, Chrome is going to be consistent across all those platforms. Plus, Chrome offers an Android and iPhone application as well. Okay. Yes?
Can you use 2 emails on Chrome? Right now I have to do Firefox and I have to do Safari to get into my Gmail account.
So if you go into Gmail, sign in, then you can go add an account and you
I tried that and I wasn't able to. It was
Okay, well talk to me afterwards because that's what I use. I just have it managed across both of them. Yes?
So I just want to clarify, you said that if we're on Chrome, we can make that our default
Mm-hmm.
browser. So if we click on our icon that is associated with Paragon, it will open in Chrome?
Depends. So if you ran the autofix like 3 years ago, had an icon made on your desktop, through some rather trickery programming, I made it only open up with Internet Explorer.
So it only opens up.
But if you just open up Chrome, go to the Paragon website, drag the link out on your desktop, it's going to open up fine. And if you get stuck, you can call tech support and we'll do it for you.
Can you save it as a favorite as well? So
Yeah.
it's open up each time?
Yeah, you could even make it your starting page. You can make multiple tabs your starting page. Maybe if you are interested, I'll put together a training on how to rock Chrome.
that
So,
would be really nice too, because a lot of us belong to a lot of systems that we
Yeah.
have to do in the morning, like ResNet and Equator. And if we could do like a page that we just click,
yeah,
to get into those
yep. And
sites, that would be really nice.
yes, okay, so Tony, I will put together something on Chrome. Okay, so now we're going to talk about 4 trends. First up is data-driven video. We've all talked about statistics, but what if statistics were more than just numbers on a page? What if you sat down with Keynote or PowerPoint and you put some cool graphics in there, maybe a little bit of music, and exported it out into a video and then share that on your website? I want to share you one example of a company who's doing that, and they're out of South Texas.
Welcome to our monthly market update. Let's take a look at residential real estate activity in your area during the month of August. The number of active listings was down 17% from 1 year earlier and down 6% from the previous month. This smaller inventory means that buyers who waited to buy may have had a smaller selection to choose from.
So obviously this is a really professional version, but a lot of those same animations, transitions, can be easily achieved in either Keynote, PowerPoint, or SlideRocket. And so over time you could refine your process, but imagine how powerful of a statement this would be if somebody came to your website and found this, or you created a YouTube channel, regularly shared that out, and then shared it through your social media websites, or went on to, let's say, the Pleasanton homepage and gave some sort of breakdown like this on the Pleasanton Facebook page. You know, you have a lot of consumers who would suddenly be keyed into the opportunities in the market without having to slog through a whole lot of text. Next is image-based searching. Now, this is kind of more of an appeal to somebody out there to fund something to get this done. And I'm actually working with a graduate student and trying to encourage some MLS providers to develop this. But I think the way that we search for homes is completely ass backwards, to use the technical term. You're asking consumers to go and say, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with this kind of roof and this kind of flooring and these amenities and whatnot. And I don't know about you, but I'm more of a picture kind of person. You know, when I go into a store, I know what the item looks like that I want to buy. I can conceptualize the concept of a carrot, but if you were to ask me to describe a carrot into a search engine, that'd be a really difficult process. So with 10i, you can actually upload a photo and it'll return matches based on that photo. Well, what if we were to turn that onto the real estate industry?
Called 10i. 10i does for images what Google does for text. That means if you give 10i an image to search for, it locates where that image appears on websites all across the internet. Here's how it works. This is where you start your image search. Instead of using keywords, with 10i, you upload an image or give 10i a link to an image. To start, I'll upload an image of the Mona Lisa I have on my desktop. In just seconds, 10i searches close to 500 million images and shows me results from all over the internet. No keywords, tags, or file names are used to find the matches. It works solely by using today's image identification technology. The first images in the results are the closest match to my image. And the later pages contain more edited versions. You can see that 10i is still finding matches, even when the Mona Lisa is cropped, resized.
So one of the most exciting things about this technology I saw demonstrated a couple years ago, they were actually able to do similar matching based off of sketches. So what if a consumer was able to sketch out their dream home? It wouldn't be a perfect match, but it could guide people into those kind of decisions. And again, I'm not telling y'all things that are already out there. I'm just kind of giving y'all some thoughts. You know, maybe you can think of ways that you can explore to find this technology, or maybe there are opportunities to talk to the right people. For all I know, somebody in this room is friends with some engineer or application engineer over at Google. Next up is wearable computers. With more and more transactions occurring around the globe, outside of our physical space and whatnot, it's how do you have all parties in the same place at the same time? You may have a husband or wife who's on the road traveling, or maybe time schedules don't match. What if you were able to walk through a home and show them exactly what was there without having to walk around with a camera like this or worrying about your squeaky shoes or whatnot? And I think that's ultimately where the Google glasses, for example, are going to hit their sweet spot. There's no audio in this video, but what you can see here is she's wearing the glasses and the dad is seeing the kid, the family is seeing the kid, they're using a Google Hangout. So maybe you were to do a virtual open home. You were to do a Google Hangout open home. And there are other tools that you can use to accomplish this, but it's just somewhere to think about. And then next, and finally, one of the most exciting things is a truly natural search. And I want to tell you, some of the stuff that you're going to see in this video, we've actually started experimenting with here at the association. There are some places with the right app, if you were to point at a picture of Otto, for example, Otto will start, well, I'll let the video.
Let me start with this. What we have here is a painting of the great poet Robbie Burns, and it's just a normal image. But if we now switch inputs over to the phone, running our technology, you can see perfectly what Tamara's seeing on the screen. And when she points at this image, something magical happens. Now, what's great about this is there's no trickery here. There's nothing done to this image. And what's great about this is the technology is actually allowing the phone to start to see and understand, much like how the human brain does. Not only that, but as I move the object around, it's going to track it and overlay that content seamlessly. Again, the thing that's incredible about this is how advanced these devices have become. All the processing to do that was actually done on the device itself. Now, this has applications everywhere, whether in things like art and museums, like you just saw, or in the world of, say, advertising or print journalism. So a newspaper becomes out of date as soon as it's printed. Here is this morning's newspaper, and we have some Wimbledon news, which is great. Now what we can do is point at the front of the newspaper and immediately get a bulletin.
You adapt, and you have to be flexible, you have to be willing to change direction at a split second, and she does all that. She's won this title.
And that linking of the digital content to something that's physical is what we call an aura, and I'll be using that term a little bit as we go through the talk. So what's great about this is it isn't just a faster and more convenient way to get information in the real world, but there are times when actually using this medium allows you to be able to display information in a way that was never before possible. So what I have here is a wireless router. My American colleagues have told me I've got to call it a router, so that everyone here understands. But nonetheless, here is the device. So now what I can do is, rather than getting the instructions for the device online, I can simply point at it, the device is recognized, and then...
Begin by plugging in the gray ADSL cable.
Oh, I love that.
Then connect the wearable. Finally, the yellow Ethernet cable. Congratulations, you have now completed setup.
Awesome, thank you.
So Tony will tell you that when I first saw this, I ran out very quickly and got a developer key for it, and I was running around like making our entire office like these little magical hotspots. We're still exploring how we can use it, but for example, I was able to overlay a video on top of a picture on a printed MLS report. So you could hand that to a client and they could actually see a virtual tour right there on the report. Some of the pictures out front, they'll speak to you with the app installed. Or you can pick up a product in the store. You can pick up a product in the store and get video ideas, tools on how to use it. This is a available technology. It's called Aurora Sama, and you could go and sign up and actually look at ways that you could do within your own business. And it doesn't take a master's degree in computing science to explore it. It's Aurora Sama, A-U-R-A-S-A-M-A. Yeah, Alpha.
This is not a freebie though, right?
No, it's free.
This is free?
Yeah, yeah. Well, so the phone is the consumption, but you can actually set up light auras on your phone. So you could walk around, and let's say you were to key on that display right there. You hold the phone over it, take a picture of it, and then you can overlay a video, some text, another picture, or whatnot. You can do more complex transformations through a website, but you have to sign up for a developer key for that one. But you just basically send them an email and say, I'm interested in doing X, and they'll give you a developer key, or at least they gave me one. So, and if you're interested in exploring it and trying it out, maybe we can come up with some sort of meetup where we talk about how we can use Aurora Sama. These are all ideas we're willing to explore. So, Aurora Sama, A-U-R-A-S-A-M-A. Now, in the final portion of my presentation, we've talked a lot about tools and technology you can use for your business, but business is one thing. We've also got to learn to make some time for some fun. So I want to share some fun tools that y'all can use as well. So one of my new favorites is Songza. Songza is like Pandora, but only more awesome. So let's say you want to unwind after a long day, or cook some Italian dinner, or go out for an evening with your spouse. You can put a soundtrack to your life, and it's completely free. Next up is Google Art. You can look at the world's finest art in your slippers. I sit down with Zoe at least once or twice a week, and we go through galleries from around the world. And one of the things that is fantastic about the Google Art project is you can get in deep with it. You can see the strokes that the masters use to make their paintings, explore the sculptures up close and personal. And then finally, learn to code. You know, there's no time like the present to learn how to code. There are so many startups that are giving this knowledge away for free. I firmly believe that we're entering into a world where learning to code is going to be like knowing how to drive. You're not going to have to be the world's greatest developer to do it, but it's going to make your life a lot simpler when you can script out little pieces, or maybe throw up a website for yourself, or create a page, and it's just all about repetitiveness of tasking. And if anybody's here interested in maybe coming together and exploring how to learn to develop, we can develop those kind of programs here. We could engage on projects and maybe create some cool open source software. Yes, ma'am?
Code Academy, a place
yeah.
where you would go to do that?
Yeah. Funny story about this. I'm sorry, the link on there is wrong. It's codeacademy.com. Funny story about this. My cousin, who I had not seen in 20 years, she found me on Code Academy because I answered a very difficult question that she was stuck on. She's like, I think I know that guy. And so she connected with me through Facebook. That's just like how tiny the world is.
Or you think, that looks like basic over there on the left. You think basic, you think of HTML or C? Or
Actually, they focus on JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and they're starting to explore things like PHP and Python. My personal suggestion, start with the basics. Just learn HTML. And I think you're going to be surprised at how fast you'll pick up the syntax. And if you want to put together a quick widget for your site or whatnot, it really is freedom for yourself. But don't make yourself do it. If it's not something you don't have a natural inclination, don't feel like you have to. But if you have some spare time, you might be surprised.
Go pay that
So,
$5 on that other side.
So with that, I want to share with you all some parting thoughts. And that's this quote. Make no little plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high. Hope and work, remembering that noble, logical diagram, once recorded, will never die, but long after we're gone will be a living thing, asserting itself with ever-growing consistency. Remember that our sons and grandsons are going to do things that would stagger us. Let your watchword be order and your beacon be beauty. Think big. That was said by Daniel Burnham, who back in the 1900s helped design the Union Station and is also known as the father of city planning. So my parting thought for y'all is think big.